Hello again, Tiaja Pupillo here. I am co-chair of the Operation Put It Back Coalition, and I've had the honor of co-laboring with Dr. Herstein Wright in this mission really since our inception, since the organization was formed. We wanted to take this opportunity to share with you what God had put on our heart as far as what we do next. So many times we go to programs and we celebrate whatever the program was, but then we leave with, okay, what do we do now? So we wanted to share with you a couple things that will really help us move this mission forward. First and foremost, stay informed, stay on the wall, be encouraged. Since we last met, we talked about in 2019 and 2017, the Illinois House Bill 165 that had approved where students can pray voluntarily anytime in public schools. That was just an amazing thing that we celebrated, knowing that, hey, our children actually in Illinois and even in Indiana, there's a similar bill. They have the right to pray. But what we found is very quickly, a lot of students, teachers, administrators, most individuals had no idea that this bill existed, and there was no publicity on kind of how this needed to be implemented. So we have a bill, we have rights, but nobody is implemented because they don't know. So what we endeavor to do is pray and ask God to give us guidance on how we move this forward. Fast forward 2020, right before the pandemic, the U.S. Department of Education, this is good news, has updated their guidance on constitutionally protected prayer and religious expression in public schools. So that's elementary and secondary schools. This guidance provides helpful clarification about applicable religious freedoms. This is by far the best news ever. Now we have the law in effect. We have the bill in effect. It's approved. And it's also approved in other states because we want this for the United States of America, not just Illinois and not just Indiana. But there's guidance that tells administrators, that tells teachers what students can do. Things like students can pray during non-instructional time. Students can assemble and organize student-led prayer groups, Bible studies, worship services. Students should have access to the same types of resources and facilities as other secular groups. The list goes on. But also in this guidance, it is very clear that if public schools that are federally funded, so that's local and state that are federally funded, if they don't adhere to these guidance and protect our students' right to pray and express their religious freedom, there are penalties. They can lose funding. So this is remarkable, and we want you to know this. Stay informed. I don't have the time to go through this in its entirety, but I need everybody to go to our website, Google search on your own, know what our rights are, and empower your students, empower your children, and let your voices be known to school boards so that we can implement this. So it won't just be a right, but it will be something that we actually see in terms of restoration of prayer in schools. The second component to this is and God impressed this upon my heart. Now that the ball is in the court of the students, meaning they have to initiate, they have to be the ones to say, hey, I want to pray and pray. They have to be the one to advocate for themselves. Now that the ball is in their court, we have to understand that the enemy doesn't want them to know their identity in Christ. The enemy doesn't want them to know and have conviction to share their faith, to take advantage of prayer. He doesn't want them to know their creator and that they were made in his image. So the second part of this is that we must affirm our children in their identity, their spiritual DNA. Genesis 1:27, that they were created in the image of God, the brilliance of God. Hey, we're like God. We are image bearers of God. They need to know that God has a plan and a purpose for their lives. Why does this matter? Because God is using our children. God will continue to use our children as Daniels, as Josephs, as Davids in the earth, in their schools, to make sure that the enemy doesn't take over in our classrooms, and they can be ambassadors, but they can also tap in to get the help that they need. So two things: go to your school officials and make some noise. Let them know that this is priority and we want it to happen. And the second thing, prepare and equip your students to be an ambassador and representative for this same mission. That's all I have. I've gone over my time, but I hope this has given you something to really move forward with and celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Let's go.